Why is your voice going down? How are you? Look at somebody in the eye. Tell the person you look better than you were last year. If the person couldn't look at you in the eye, it means they've been gossiping about you. Let's try it again. Look straight at the person's eye. Tell the person you look better than you were last year. No, I didn't say propose to anybody. We'll talk about that later. But tell somebody you look better than you were last year. Great. How many of you were in IYES last year? Good. How many of you were not in IYES last year? We need to be praying for you. Anyway, you may be seated. You may be seated. Devil. You can clap. No, I'm just kidding. It's not the devil. It's just microphone. Anyway, it's been a good beginning, and I want to add my voice to the voices that have gone ahead of me. And I want to talk to you about your next bold move. Your next bold move. Your next bold move. Somebody say, I'm ready. Say it, I'm ready. No, you can still talk and listen at the same time, can't you? I hope you are not like me. I can't do two things at the same time. I can't chew gum and walk. I have to do one. But say, I am about to go into my next bold move. Say it again. Now I want you to listen carefully, because these 3 days that we're going to gather here, I believe that the things that are going to be said and the things that we are going to see are going to be life-defining for somebody. You must determine today, tomorrow, Friday, and the days ahead that you're not going to go back the same way you came. Something must be ignited in you. A fire must light up on the inside of you, in your heart. That fire must refuse to die until you become everything that God has ordained for you to be. I want you to hear this. In these 3 days that we are gathered here, you must determine that nobody is going to distract you from what you want to get. Because we are all in the same space right now, but we are not all in the same place. I'll repeat it. I said we are all in the same space, National Theatre, but we are not all in the same space, in the same place. I will explain. Now, one time I was traveling, and I was sitting in the plane, and there was a lady seated to my left, and there was a gentleman seated somewhere to my right. We were all in the same space. And as we were going, the lady to my left kept asking the flight attendant for more drinks, more whiskey, more this. She was drinking herself silly. I was busy on my laptop trying to write a book. The other man to my right was also watching a movie, and he was laughing hilariously. Then it struck me that even though the three of us were sitting in the same space, we were in different places. This one was into the spirit. This one was in entertainment, and this one was writing. So all of us are sitting in the same space in the National Theatre, but make sure that the place you are right now is different from everybody else. You didn't hear me at all. Please forgive me. Bishop Bernard is gone, so you can clap if you want to, okay? When he comes, please don't clap. But for me, you're okay to clap. God gave you two hands. You can do anything you want to do. So long as you don't slap somebody, that's fine with me. But my prayer is that these 3 days that we are going to spend together, your life will be transformed. I said your life will be transformed. And somebody, you are going to be infected, you are going to be affected with some greatness, and let that person be you. My assignment is very simple for these few minutes that I'm going to spend with you, and that is I want to prepare you for where you are going to in the future. Because I believe that this generation, your generation, is about to do some great things on this continent. This generation, you are about to do some amazing things. You are beginning to get into some businesses that have never been done in Ghana before. You are about to get into politics. You are about to get into governance. I believe that it is time that this nation get ourselves prepared to have young people in leadership in government. I believe that some young people are going to do ministry that will be amazing. I believe that the atmosphere in Ghana, the atmosphere over Africa is pregnant with great expectation. Hear me, whether you like it or not, the waters of greatness in Africa are already broken and nobody can stop it. When a woman is pregnant and it gets to the time for the baby to be born and the waters break, I don't care how anointed you are, you can't stop it. I don't care how gifted you are, you can't stop it. Once the waters are broken, baby is coming whether you are ready or not. In the same way, I believe that over the youth of Ghana, the waters of greatness has broken and nobody can stop you. I don't hear you, I don't feel it. I said nobody can stop you. You are about to break forth. Listen to me. Do you know that in the world today, there are more people 30 years and under than 30 years and above? In the world today, we are about 7.6 billion people. And more of those people on earth today are less than 30 years old. It's your time. It's your time. Please, I say you can clap. You can clap. It's okay. It's okay. Unless you have sauce in your palms, it's fine. When Bishop Bernard comes, please don't tell him I said you can clap. I don't like that. I'll make sure they don't give him my CDs. But we really want to talk. We really want to talk. We really want to talk today. And I want to ignite some anger, some holy anger on the inside of you. To rise and to break every barrier. You know, the theme for this year's IYES is breaking barriers. And I want the youth of Ghana to believe that you can break barriers. Because you are our future. You are our hope. You are our expectation. You are our inspiration. And this year, I came prepared to release you to become everything that God has ordained for you to be. You didn't hear me at all. I said I came to release you. I was telling somebody, was it yesterday that, or today, I don't even remember. I think I told some people, and I mentioned it today when they were interviewing me, that what is the point in going to rehearsal every time and never being given an opportunity to sing? And that is where the youth of Ghana is. We've brought them to rehearsal over and over and over, but nobody has given you the opportunity to sing. This week, I'm giving you permission to sing. I said this week, we are releasing you to sing. We are releasing you to become everything that God has ordained for you to be. Nobody is going to hold you down. Nobody is going to put you down. Are you hearing me? And understand that before any breakthrough, before anything great will happen with you, there's always a barrier. Before any next level, there's a barrier. Before you succeed, there are barriers. Before you achieve, there are barriers. There are barriers of resistance, barriers of opposition. And that is why I believe that some of you are feeling the way you are feeling. Because you feel so much opposition, because you feel so much resistance, because you see so many obstacles in front of you, somebody has lied to you that it's because there's something wrong with you. Please, I get to make an announcement that there is nothing wrong with you. There's everything right with you. And even if there's something wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with you that we cannot change with what is right with you. The fact that you can see me and you can hear me is an indication that there are millions of things right with you. And we're going to take the things that are right with you and correct the things that are wrong with you so that you can become everything that God has ordained for you to be. You are not a bad person. Listen, even if you're a bad person, we can use you as a bad example. You are okay. You're okay. So please understand me. I'm just going to talk to you for a few minutes. I'm going to sit down so you can go and eat. But you are feeling the way you are feeling because this is not where you ought to be. You wake up in the morning and you don't feel good because you know that this is not who God created you to be. And my prayer is that you will never feel good until you become everything that God has ordained for you to be. Because, hear me, you will never be able to change anything that you consider normal. I don't want you to live a normal life after tonight. After today, you are not going to live a normal life. People must see you and not understand where you are coming from. This morning, Ohine told us that you must be okay to be not okay. You know, one time I went to a store. I think in Texas. And I went to this department and I saw these jeans, some of the things you were talking about, like the bishop was saying, you know. And it was a jeans shirt. And it didn't really look like they finished sewing it. You know what I mean? It's like they really didn't finish. And I was kind of wondering, and I looked at the price tag and I said, hello. And then I saw a little note beside it that said that the irregularity in this garment is what makes it special. Then I thought about myself, that in order for me to be special, I have to be irregular. I don't have to be like anybody else. Are you hearing me? Please stop trying to let everybody like you. Stop trying to become like everybody else. You are not a photocopy, you are an original. Are you hearing me? There's nobody like you. You can go as far back as possible into the annals of human history. You will never discover another you. When you die, we have lost you forever. Nobody can replace you. Nobody can wear your own shoes. You are gone forever. So whilst you are here, you have to leave your fingerprint on the sands of time and determine that after I am gone, Ghana must celebrate me. After I am dead, Ghana must clap their hands for me. After I am left, listen, let me ask you a question. When you are not in your neighborhood, do people realize that you are not in your neighborhood? Maybe right now nobody cares about you. Even when you're sharing food at home, they forget about you. But after this conference, something is going to wake up on the inside of you, and you're going to rise up and determine that even though my village may not appear on the most detailed map of Ghana, it doesn't matter, because where I am coming from must not inform where I am going to. Where I was born is only an entry point, but where you are is your shining point. And Ghana youth are going to rise up in this season, and you are going to make nonsense of everything that has been determined over you. If you believe me, shout yes. Thank you, Ghana. Thank you, Ghana. Thank you, Ghana. Hear me. If you are going to be somebody who breaks barriers, if you are going to do things that nobody else has ever done, then it is going to start with your mentality. Your mentality, your thinking. So important. Bishop Bernard has spoken a lot about our mentality. It is so important. You will never operate in the palace when you keep thinking like a beggar. Your mentality has to change about a lot of things. Because for many of you, the truth of the matter is that your greatest challenge is not Satan. Your greatest challenge is not devils. Your greatest challenge is between your two ears, your thinking. I made a promise that I'm going to write. In fact, it's almost finished. And every day new things come to add to the book. And the last two chapters are very interesting. The last but one chapter, I wrote, leave God out of this. Because a lot of things that we say is God. If this is God, then I don't want that God. Because you can see this is extreme foolishness. And the God that I serve is not the foolish God. Because some of the things that some of you see, because we can't quantify the things of the Spirit in our hands. Everything is God. And God told me. And God said, meanwhile, you haven't even seen an angel before. You saw this, what are these white bears that follow cows? Billy. You saw Billy. Say you saw an angel. Billy. Is it Billy? Yeah, Billy. How many of you know Billy? Very good. Yeah, you are very. Those of you who are pretending you don't know, listen, please know. Some of you are pretending you are in Accra for the first time, and you are pretending. You have been a village champion for a long time. Now that you have come to Accra and the lights are on, you want to pretend. No, how many of you have seen Billy before? You see the whole house. Please let the whole world see them on camera. They have seen Billy before. Some of you used to chase Billy. Now you don't want to chase. You used to chase Bela and all kinds of things. But we thank God that today you don't chase Bela again. Where you are coming from is not as important as where you are going to. Is somebody hearing me? Are you hearing me? And so the book I said, leave God out of this. Then the last chapter is leave Satan out of this. Because a lot of things that we say is the devil. It's got nothing to do with the devil. It's got everything to do with the person in your mirror when you look into the mirror. Because if you are earning 100 cedis a month and you are spending 120 cedis a month, where is Satan in it? Then you say, oh, so please pray for me on my finances. It's an attack. No. Are you spending more than? Because if your outgoing is more than your incoming, then your upstanding will be your downfalling. You didn't hear me. You didn't hear me. You didn't hear me. You didn't hear me. Somebody came to Pastor Brian the other day and said, Bishop, I really want to be your financial planner. And I said, so what's the agenda? He said, I want to help you plan your finance plan. And I said, I'm a financial planner already. They said, how? I said, I can plan. He said, how? He said, I've been to college, I've done this. And I said, who needs a financial planner? He said, and he went on and was quiet. Me, I'll have time for you. As when I'm not paying for your nonsense, I'll listen. It was my dad who taught me that any nonsense that people say to you, so long as you are not paying for it, you listen. Because a wise person learns more from a fool than a fool learns from a wise person. If you don't believe, don't look at your friend. Just look at me. We are having fun. Just look at me. Just look at me. We want to talk wisdom 101. And I said to that person, you know, I'm a financial planner myself. So he said, so what? How? And I said, listen, this is financial planning. Don't spend more than you earn. Pronto. Don't spend more than you earn. Is that not financial planning? You see how they are quiet? Don't spend more than you earn. Is that not financial planning? If you don't spend more than you earn, you are in business. Did I say something wrong to IYES, Pastor Brian? You should see the eyes of the people who are looking at me. But listen, too many of us, we have been imprisoned by wrong thinking. You have stinking thinking. That is why you have stinking living. Your whole world is determined by your mentality. Some of your hard disk up here is corrupted by viruses. Virus of fear, virus of little thinking, virus of rejection. And when Pastor Brand invited me, I came with antivirus to deprogram you. I said, I came to deprogram some of you. And to wipe your hard drive, we have to wipe it clean so that we can reprogram you. For you to understand that you can begin to operate at speed. That everything that held you back will not hold you back again. So that you can become everything that God has ordained for you to be. If that is, you say yes. Hear me. Wherever you are, regardless of how small the place is, you can think big. You can think big. Do you know that the same amount of time you used to think small is the same amount you used to think big? So why waste your time thinking small? And by the way, thinking is free. How much do you pay to think? You know, this is not preaching time. This is not preaching. So I'm trying very, that's why I didn't read. If you are waiting for me to open Bible, I won't. When you go to church on Sunday, your preachers will preach many times to you. But there's something in the Bible. Can I just say that and go away? Do you know that your thinking and your prayer are on the same level? You say, prove it. Ephesians 3:20 says, now unto him that is able to do exceedingly, abundantly, above all that we ask, prayer, and think, according to the power that is at work. It's according to all that we ask and think, which means your asking and your thinking are on the same level. So you can pray until your teeth falls out. If your thinking is wrong, you are going to wait to happen. Now, please don't offend me. It's Wednesday afternoon, and Wednesday afternoons when people feel like they want to clap like at this, like at that, commissar, it offends me. It makes me very hard. Then my body begins. When you see me scratching, then my body is itching. But listen, you can go to every prayer meeting. You can pray for as long as you want. You can pray until the cows come home. If your thinking is wrong, you are going nowhere to happen. Your thinking and your prayer must align, because God honors your thinking. There's something on in between your ears that God gave to you that you must begin to use. So stop thinking, I can't. That is why somebody said, I can't, I must, and I will. Stop thinking because I'm a female. Stop thinking because I'm short. Stop thinking because I'm tall. Stop thinking because I have nobody. No, you must begin to adjust your thinking and understand that all things are possible to the one that believes. You must adjust your thinking to understand that there's nowhere that my body will go where my mind has not first been to. I'm going to repeat. I said your body will never go where your mind has not first been to. So when you adjust your thinking, you can begin to gravitate towards where your thinking is. Listen Listen to me, people of God. Listen, everybody, Ghana, listen to me. Your mind is a powerful tool. Don't waste it. There was a little circus in the former East Germany. And they had a little brown bear in a cage. The cage was 12 foot by 12 foot. That was all that the little brown bear knew. And every day the brown bear would pace 12 foot forward, 12 foot backwards. That's all its existence. And one day a huge zoo heard about it. So they negotiated with the little circus and they bought the bear. And they took that little bear and the 12 foot by 12 foot cage and they took it to the zoo. The zoo was huge, had rolling hills, salmon-filled rivers, everything. And they opened the door of the cage, expecting the bear to jump out into freedom. The bear looked outside, looked everywhere, looked at the beauty, the majesty, the everything. Bowed down its head and started moving 12 foot, 12 foot. It's funny, until I explained that it is you. 12 foot by 12 foot. 12 foot, the laughter is going. 12 foot by 12 foot. Now, they did everything and they pushed the bear. They pushed the bear out of the cage, closed the cage and took the cage away. Now the bear was free, like could move. The bear looked all around with joy, bowed down his head and started moving 12 foot by 12 foot. Why? Because on the inside of the bear, there has been a programming that you can't go beyond 12 foot by 12 foot. So no matter the environment that has been created around you, you still cannot operate beyond the parameters of the cage they have done. And so it went on and on and on and on until they had to put the bear down through euthanasia. The newspaper people got the story and they began to ask questions. What happened? What happened? And somebody said something, and because I cannot improve it, I'm repeating it for you. He said the problem of the bear was not the metal bars, it was mental bars. And for many of you, your problem is not the metal cage that somebody has put you in, it's your mental cage. That is why in this IYES this year, we are going to deprogram your mind. We are going to break barriers. We are going to open your mind. We are going to stretch your mind, because a mind that is stretched never goes back to the same. Exposure will expand your expectation. And today, some of you are going to go back after Friday, and people will not recognize you because you're going to think different. And when you think different, you act different. When you act different, you behave different. When you behave different, you do things different. Something is about to happen, and speed, everything that you dreamed about is going to happen to you because your thinking has been adjusted. Let me give you just four quick things. Very quickly. 4 quick things in a few minutes. Then I'll begin to sit down. Just 4 things, then I will begin to sit down. Now, I didn't say I will sit down. I said I will begin to sit down. So everybody has their time of beginning to sit down. I mean, my beginning to sit down is longer than all that I've said. So if you are thinking about the wache, please give up. But you have to adjust your thinking in some areas. Number 1, you must adjust your thinking on established tradition. I will explain myself. Established tradition. That is tradition that you and I have been born into in Ghana and Africa. If you are going to break a barrier, if you are going to become anything better than you walk in here, you must never allow some traditions to control you and to form you. When I address this thing called established tradition, I'm talking about, this is how it has always been. All of us have been born into families, born into tribes, born into cultures, born into places where people do things that do not make sense. Bishop Bernard alluded to some of them. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. And so we worship at the altar of the sacredness of sameness. There are some traditions that you need to question, young ones, and you need to overthrow. For example, don't expect too much because you are young. I have a question. Says who? Youth of Ghana, says who? I want to ask you a question. How young is young? And how old is old? Listen, when you are going to break barriers, understand that age is just a number. And it doesn't matter. One time, the nation of Israel, they had a problem. They had a challenge. And that challenge was only one person. His name was Goliath. One day I'll introduce him to you. His name was Goliath. And for so many days, this man terrorized the whole nation until a 17-year-old boy who had been sent by his father, and he went there not by default. He went there by accident. As it were, but it was designed. He went and he saw a challenge, and warriors who were armed to the teeth, people who had been battle trained, were running away, but something was ignited on the inside of him, and he asked the question that, why must you all run away from this guy? And the people said to this little boy, David, listen, look at that giant. He's too big to beat. David said, no, your thinking is wrong. Maybe to you he's too big to beat, but for me he's too big to mess. The way he's big, anywhere I throw my stone, I'm going, somebody's not hearing me. You see, hear me. Your problem is not the problem. The way you see the problem is the problem. David, you are saying he's too big to beat. No, for me he's too big to mess. It's in your thinking. And that boy, 17-year-old boy, with one, the Bible says that he took 5 stones, 5 too small. The beautiful thing is that, man of God, he didn't even need 4. Only the first stone. May I tell somebody in Ghana today that you are the first stone in your family. I said you are the first stone in your family. You are the one that will silence every Goliath in your family. Any Goliath that has been mocking your family because your father died poor or your mother died poor, you will silence that Goliath. Any Goliath that is speaking in your family that women cannot break through, you will silence that Goliath. Any Goliath that is shouting that people will die early in your family, you are the first stone that God will use to silence that Goliath. Listen, you don't, so long as God is with you, your age doesn't matter. David did one exploit and silenced the enemies of God forever. And you sit down and you have the audacity to tell me you are young. How dare you say you are young and you are powerless when the Most High God is on the inside of you? You can do something with your... Are you hearing me this morning, Ghana? You can do something in your life. Don't let established tradition that in Ghana little people don't do this and little people don't do that. Listen, you can do something. There was a young boy, 20-something-year-old boy, born in Taipei, Taiwan. He wanted to do designing. They brought him to Edmonton, Canada. He went to school and he came down south to America. He couldn't even find a job in designing. His job was to dress mannequins in a store. You know those statues, the mannequins. That was all he did. But he had a dream on the inside of him. Listen. Somebody may break your legs, but they can't break your idea. You didn't hear me? I said they can break your legs, but they can't break your idea. They can stop your car, but they can't stop your dream. There's something on the inside of you that must never die. Don't surrender it to people who talk nonsense. But this boy went on, and he started sewing his own dresses, and he got a little slot in a store. One day, a woman went to the store, J. Crew, and saw a dress sewn by this boy, Jason Wu. And the dress was so nice, so she bought one for only $39. $39. And bought 2 for her 2 daughters. This woman wore those dresses and people started saying, wow, it looks good on you. It looks good on you. It looks good on you. Not too long. This black woman, I'm talking about black woman in America, who bought this $39 dress and 2 for her 2 young girls. Not too long from there, her husband became the first black president of America. I'm talking about Michelle Obama. And when the inauguration was coming up, the first inauguration, she got all kinds of proposals. Amani, this, we want to sew your, if you saw that dress, that was the green dress that she was wearing. It was sewn by Jason Wu, 20-something-year-old, who sewed things in the store. But the woman liked the dress so much that she said, find me that guy and let him dress me up for inauguration. You never know the day your chance will come. You never know the day your breakthrough will come. That is why the saddest mistake you can make is to give up today when there's tomorrow. You didn't hear me at all. I'm going to try it here. This place is boring. I said the saddest mistake you can make is to give up today when there's a place for tomorrow. Hear me? If there's one address that you must love, that address is an address called tomorrow. Because tomorrow will not be like any yesterday that you have been through. They are laughing at you today, but there's a tomorrow coming. I said they are looking down on you today, but there's a tomorrow coming. After God has finished with you, and after you have come through IYES, and we have deprogrammed you, I'm telling you, tomorrow will be happy for you. Establish tradition. Say, young people can't do this. Young people, listen to me. Today, young people, listen, you must aspire to do some crazy business. You must aspire to go into politics. The unfortunate thing is, you see, for some of us who have been living in Ghana for a very long time, some of us left when we were very, very young, and we come back and so you have things to compare with. That is why some of the examples, we say them with a lot of passion. But have you noticed that in today's world, young people are becoming presidents? And in Africa, 94-year-olds are still running for another election until they are taken out of the way. And we think it's funny. You go to Uganda and Museveni is what? 70-something years. And he's going to run again for the next. What is wrong with Africa? And we think it's funny. We think it's funny. If they had not removed Mugabe, he would be about 300 years and he's still there. What makes us think that the young people cannot do things? Canada, Austria, of course, he's a racist. Austria. They all come up in their 30s. Our constitution has been written to favor old people. When you guys become presidents, change them. Be bold to change. Because you know what I'm saying that? Please let me be bold. Let me be bold. Let me be bold. Listen. Many of our leaders today have been trained to lead in a world that no longer exists. Oh yeah. People have been trained to live in a world. That is why I like you. This is a new generation. You are my future. You are my inspiration. My children teach me IT. They laugh at me. When I get myself a cell phone, they have to walk me through it. I pay. You know, today we have iPad. In my family, everybody has like iPad, iPhone, iMac, and I pay. I do the iPay. They all have I things. I do the iPay. I remember going to the store one day. It was my daughter's birthday to get her a new iPhone X or something. Every time it's like, she said, Daddy, this one is cool. She has a way of dragging me to the store. And she does it with scripture. I'm led like a lamb to the slaughter. Open up my mouth. And I had this old phone. You know, even now, if you see my phone right now, you cry for me. I was holding my phone. And she said, Daddy. I said, what? He said, hide your phone. I said, what? He said, Daddy, don't embarrass me in the store. Hide your phone. And I said, what is this? Daddy, that thing is too old. And I said, you are broke. And I am paying. He said, it doesn't matter. When we go home, we can talk about it. But here in the store, hide the thing, hide the thing, hide the thing. Listen, and I said, what is wrong with my phone? If you call me, I look at it, hello, I'm finished. He said, you don't know what the thing's that. He said, today's generation, today, my daughter told me she doesn't even take calls. When I said, no, say we do FaceTime, we do. I said, really? Say, if I can see you, I'm not talking to you. I said, then, bye. Because, listen, our world does, in my church today, when I'm about to preach, Nana, I tell the people, if you are 30 and below, turn on your Bible to Genesis. If you are 30 and above, open your Bible to Genesis. And all the young ones said, yeah. I tell the young people, turn on your Bible. So you see them turning on their Bible. And the old people are flipping, open your Bible. You know, we are flipping the thing. Established tradition. Many leaders today in Ghana were trained by the colonialists. And the world that they were trained for doesn't exist because they are not updating themselves. They are outdated. If you don't update, you'll be outdated. So we are speaking a language that nobody understands. I remember one time, my daughter, she said, Daddy, this thing is cool. I said, is it in the fridge? She said, you don't understand. Then the other biker said, hey, Daddy, man, the girl, she's hot. I said, you are saying she's cool. You are also saying she's cool. So which one is what? When I was growing up, when we said grass, it's something you cut. But today, when people say grass, it means something different. Pot. Is it not something you cook in? But when the young people say pot, he's smoking pot. Say, hey man, the guy is stoned. For me, stone means throwing rocks. But when the guy is stoned, it means in the spirit without the holy. You know, they are in a different dimension. Words have changed. Today everything is dope, man. But when our time, dope is dope. Dope. The police catch you, you are dope, man. But today they say, man, that thing is dope. You see what I'm saying? So listen, don't allow. Am I teaching you? Don't allow established tradition to determine you. Please, we give you permission to start a movement. Somebody came from the UK to start the movement in IYES. I call IYES. It's not going to stop. It's spreading like wildfire all over Africa. Spreading. From Ghana, Accra, it's spreading all over the place. Is somebody hearing me? It's going to go to Kumasi. It's going to go to Takra. It's going to go to Lagos. It's going to go to Yaoundé. It's going to go from Cape Town to Cairo. We are doing IYES. Some of you need to run for elections. You say, listen, your ideas are not broke. Somebody will pay for your ideas. You must have an ambition. For some of you, the tradition is people from where I am, we don't do well. Says who? You need to break that barrier. Stop rehearsing that nonsense. Who told you that you are like everybody else? Please hear me. What people say about you is not as important as what you choose to hear. I'm going to try it here. I don't feel love here. I said what people say about you is not as important as what God says about you. What people are saying is not as important as what you choose to hear. And by the way, what is happening is not as important as what you choose to see. That's why two people can see the same thing. One gets a testimony, the other gets a testimony. There was a guy called Moses. There was a guy, he was a leader, he was called Moses. And he was leading some slaves, about 2-3 million of them, from captivity into a place that he said somebody had shown him to take them. They were like returnees from Agege. And they got to a place, there was a barrier, like we are dealing with barriers. And all the people started complaining. And this guy Moses said something, and I'm going to repeat. He said, fear not. Stand still and see the salvation of our God. For the Egyptians that you see, he didn't say we see, he said you see. He didn't say we see, you see. You are seeing barriers, I am seeing breakthrough. Hey, ask somebody, what do you see? I said, ask somebody, what do you see? Yeah. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I don't care what they say about your family, you are different. I said you are different. There's a brand new blood walking on the inside of you. You are breaking barriers of non-achievement. If nobody married in your family, you will marry. If everybody died poor, you will not die poor. If everybody was a failure minus you, if nobody graduated, you will graduate from school. You are not a turkey, you are an eagle. The bottom is too crowded. You are about to rise and fly. You are going to break barriers in IYES to become everything that God has ordained for you. The second thing. Pastor Brian, how many minutes? Then I'll sit down. Please tell me. 20? Okay. Who said go on? Come and try and see. You think it's a joke? 20. Every time they laugh, I'll subtract it. Bishop didn't let you laugh. Me, I'll let you laugh, but I'll subtract it from your time. Is that a deal? But the second thing you need to think, you need to work on your thinking, and you may not say too many amens, but that's fine, is on instant gratification. I'm going to take my time and talk to you about that. If you can't spell it, find a dictionary. But when I talk about instant gratification, it's not understanding that life is a process. That you have to be prepared for what has been prepared for you. You're going to hear me. Stop drinking from the poison tap water of instant things. Too many people are fooling you, like the bishop said. If you want to be a millionaire tomorrow, type amen. And some of you have been typing 10 amens. Can I see your bank statement, please? Don't join that foolishness. Because life is, there are some of you, if God should give you 1 million right now, it will destroy you. You are saying he should try you. He won't try you. You know, I don't know if I told this story here, but let me tell you. In fact, if I've told it, I'll tell it again. If I've been told it, hear it for the first time. A man died, and he left $1 million to his nephew in his will. The only problem was that the nephew had a heart situation. So everybody was scared to break the news to him because it may trigger a heart attack. So they went to his pastor and told the pastor that, well, pastor, Kofi's uncle died and left him $1 million, but we don't know how to break the news because he may get excited and trigger something. So, pastor, could you use all your pastoral skill to tell him? Pastor said, no problem. So on Sunday after church, pastor said, Kofi, come. I want to ask you a question. So if somebody died and left $1 million, what would you do with it? The guy thought and said, well, I'll give half of it to the church. The pastor fell down and died. And you're going to ask me, so what happened next? They all died. Okay. But hear me. You have to be processed for something. This generation, you want everything now. The only thing that I read in a book that grew overnight, died overnight. A tree grew over a guy called Jonah in a certain book. That tree grew overnight, but the next day it died. You must learn to delay gratification. And sometimes people hear me, you may have to walk in the same shoes for a little while. I know you won't say amen, but it's okay. It may also mean sometimes even using the same cell phone for another year because you know where you are getting into. The fact that you are hungry doesn't mean you eat everything that they said before you immediately. And it is only the unwise who eat their supper at breakfast time. You won't understand until I'm gone. If you have a dream, if you are going somewhere, listen, don't compete because a complete person doesn't compete. You don't have to spend a little money dressing up every day. Don't try to become like the other sister. You don't know where she goes at night. Don't look at anybody. Listen, it's not what you are wearing that matters. It is what is wearing you that matters. What is wearing you? Whose spirit is wearing you? I drove a car. When I went to America first, I could afford whatever. But I looked at the congregation I was pastoring at that time. We were young, we were little. Pastor Brian and Abby, you've been there, you've been in my home, you know. And I realized that in America, you can do things. You have credit, you have everything. But I looked at my congregation and I said to myself that if I buy something, I may invite trouble that I don't have the ability to handle. Because sometimes, please hear me, there are some fights you have no business fighting. How many of you, I want to see something. How many of you go to church? I want to ask you a question. On behalf of your pastors, I want to try whether they are teaching you right. How many of you agree that Jesus is God? There's no trick. I'm not tricking you. How many of you agree that Jesus is God? I want to see. I'm not taking you to Afghanistan. Let me see. Very good. How many of you agree that when he was in his mother's womb, he was God? Very good. Your pastors will be happy. How many of you agree that when he was born and he was put in a manger, he was God? Raise your hand. There's no trick in this one. So when Herod wanted to kill him, and Joseph took him and they were running away to Egypt, was he still God? So if God was running away, even God. There comes a time, that even God had to run away. Which means, listen, sometimes a baby lion can be killed by an adult goat. So there's some fights when you are not old enough, you don't fight it. But when he became an adult and God said, now go back. He went back. When they wanted to kill him, he walked through them and he said, nobody can take my life. I laid down my life and I picked it because he was a grown-up man. There are some times, people of God, that you have to hide. There are some times that you have to pretend you have nothing because there are some fights you don't need to fight. Stop putting all these fake things on Facebook and say, see how God has blessed me. And stand before somebody's house. The house is not yours. And you are telling them, it's my house. Then you stand beside somebody's car. You are taking selfie. The car will move and you fall down. I'm enjoying myself a little bit. This one we shall continue next time. You need sometimes, listen, you don't have to spend money like there's no tomorrow. Who are you competing against? Which means sometimes you don't have to attend every party every weekend. You don't have to be a social butterfly. Learn whilst others are chilling. Okay, number three. If you're going to break barriers, this is another thinking. You must qualify your connections. Qualify your connections. I'm talking about the people you surround yourself with. Because your connections, the people you are connected to, everybody that you are connected to will either supply something or take something away from you. Your friends, those are your friends or frenemies, they hold the keys over your life. Some have kept you in an emotional, a mental, and relational prison. Please, if you're going to be a barrier breaker, you must be intentional in the people that surround you. For somebody here, your greatest enemy is your friend. Don't look at anybody. Don't look at me. Don't look at them. You're spoiling my preaching. Don't look at them. I said for somebody here, your greatest enemy is the person you say they are your friend. You know why? Because they are too good for you. You say, yes, because they don't push you for anything better. They don't challenge you with new ideas. All they do with you is to talk about people. All that they do is to be employed in the ministry of information. They know everything about everybody, but they don't push you. When your left shoe is on your right foot and your right shoe is on your left foot, they say, hey, this is a new style, I like it. If you have friends like that, let me suggest you don't need enemies. Who is your friend? Who do you consider a friend? Do you know how many people are dead because they couldn't say no to a certain friend? Listen, if you desire to be a barrier breaker, then take a long and hard look at the people who have surrounded you. Who belongs on the front row seat of your life? I pray that God will give you wisdom to begin to qualify your friends. Today, because of the miracle of technology, when somebody calls you, you can see their name on your caller ID. You don't have to pick up. You don't have to answer every call. Sometimes somebody called me and said, Pastor, how are you? And I said, I'm fine. He said, are you busy? I said, yeah. He said, busy doing what? I said, I'm busy sleeping. Me, everything I do, I'm busy. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm busy sleeping. Don't bother me. I'm busy sleeping. Everything, I'm really busy sleeping. Listen, may God give you wisdom to know who your friends are. Because let me tell you something. Sometimes we think our enemies are only the people who want to kill us. But sometimes your greatest enemy is the one who wants you the same place you are. Finally, you must see challenges as opportunities. We heard it in our first speaker. Ohinere said it. Look at one person. Look at the barriers she broke. The challenges that have now become things for celebration today. You must learn and understand. The thing is about, listen, I'm not going to stand here and pretend that there are no challenges in our nation. In fact, there are more problems in Ghana than human beings. Somebody put it on Facebook the other, I said, what's up? I laughed. He said, everything is Mugabe. Now Mugabe, everything, things he hasn't said. The day this man will die, peace will come. He said, in Ghana, you don't something. So you don't need to set an alarm clock to wake up. Your problems will keep you awake. So I know. But the thing about it is that there's no problem-free place. There's no problem. When I used to live in the UK, one time I just got bored. I wanted to relocate. I wanted to move out of England. So I said, you know something? I think I'll go to Australia. Then I was watching the news one day, and there was fire in Australia. Fire plenty everywhere. I said, hey, I'm not going to Australia. No. And I said, well, maybe Brazil or something. One of those South American countries. Then I was watching news again, and I saw hurricane wiping out people. I said, oh, I'm not going there again. I said, maybe Africa. I look at the map of Africa. And I was reading an article about some astronauts who went into space in the Newsweek. And he said, when we looked down on the earth, it was beautiful. And looked at the continent of Africa, and it looked like a question mark. And I said, no, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to stay. Listen, there's nowhere cool. There's nowhere cool. But you can go to a place and turn it around. Am I making sense to somebody? You must understand that you are rewarded and you are celebrated for the problems you solve, not the ones you talk about. May I speak something into your mind before I go? You are a solution to somebody's problem. You are an answer to somebody's question. Somebody is waiting on you to rise up and to clap for you. There were two guys who were selling shoes. They were salespeople for a shoe company. And they were sent into an island in the Pacific. One of them was sent there to go and sell shoes. After a few months, he sent a message and said, please come and get me and take me back to America. Because on this island, nobody wears shoes. So business is not moving. They brought him back and they sent his friend over there. After a few months, he wrote back and said, send me more shoes. Because I'm teaching people how to wear shoes. The problem is not a problem. It's the way you see the problem. Every day, life will present you with a challenge. But if you don't panic and you look at the challenge carefully, you will see your opportunity in there. Open your eyes and let God let you understand that your challenge is your signboard, is your billboard that is directing you to your breakthrough. Hear me. Whatever you do, whatever you hear, whatever you are commanded to do, never forget this. Determine that no matter what it is, you are standing until the very end. Have some staying powers. There's somebody here, you are ready to give up. I have a question for you. What is the alternative? If you give up today, what better thing do you have? What will you be remembered for? Is it the one who stood or the one? Listen, life is rough. If you don't know, life is rough. You will be disappointed by people, but get up and keep moving. You will be resisted by the older generation. When you go to the beach and you watch the waves, the greatest enemy of the incoming wave is the outgoing wave. It happens all the time. But get up and keep moving. Somebody will reject your application. Still go and keep moving. You will be betrayed, misunderstood, misbelieved, disbelieved. You will fail, but don't stand there. Get up and keep moving. May God, who has kept you from the day you were born to today, keep you in the days ahead. You are a barrier breaker. And please don't die until Ghana and Africa claps their hand for you. I'm done. Oh, you got some books here? Please be seated. Please be seated. Listen, how many of you know that this is a great thing we are doing here? 3.5 hands. There are some of you, every question, you don't raise your hand. Who is alive? Who is dead? Can you just move for a little bit? How many of you know that Pastor Brian is doing an amazing thing? Let's put our hands together and appreciate him. The truth of the matter is that there are some of us, we didn't have to be here. He knows that. But I have to be here because he has commanded me. He's my master. He has commanded me. And I believe in this thing, that's why I'm here. If I listen to my body, I should be on another continent. But I believe in this thing that is happening. But I told some people, man of God, last week, maybe you saw it, we had our leaders and pastors conference, a huge one. And I told some of the pastors that the reason why you are the way you are is not because you are not prayerful or anything or in the wrong place, but it's because you are cheap. Because you get what you pay for. And I realized that one of the worst things that the British did to Ghana, they colonized us, and colonialism hasn't gone. They moved, but they left something here. It's the gospel of something for nothing. We only think that the people who give us things are our good friends. Stop begging people for things and ask them for information. Because if I give you fish every day, I'll fed you for one day. But if I teach you how to fish, I'll fed you for life. I want some people to help me. Let's support this thing. I want you to take a seed. And you're going to bring it tomorrow. You're going to bring it tomorrow. Can I have some envelopes, Obi? You are going to bring me the